Hi, I'm Dr. Amber Belt, and as promised, I am live at 3 o'clock Pacific time to tell you about what happened to my nose here, my baby black eye there, and how I treated it. So, what happened earlier this week, I can't remember, I think it was Wednesday, I got home from work and I was just changing around so I could work out. And the dogs came into the bedroom with me. I have two dogs. They're in my stories a lot, Vincent and Jules. Vincent's the bigger guy with the eye patch, and Jules is the smaller guy with more black on his head. So anyways, Vincent and Jules were in the bedroom with me, and at the second that I bent over to grab something, Jules went to jump up on the bed, and our heads are the top of his head collided with my nose right here. If any of you have ever collided with dog heads, which I found out is very common, they're hard. And I think I had a patient this week who told me her dog actually broke her nose. And then also, I think this is a pretty common scenario if you're a parent and you have children and you've ever had them in your lap and they do this number and they pop you in the nose. So I thought it would be a really good opportunity, because it's a pretty shared experience, to tell you what I did for first aid. So, but what I want to talk about first is the dance you kind of have to do with first aid, because what we want to get is to get people some pain relief without completely shutting down the inflammatory process. Because what you need when you injure yourself is you need that inflammatory process to heal, but you also have to do the dance of, well, I still need to sleep and not be woken up from pain. I still need to be able, like for me, maybe to breathe and not have a bunch of swelling in my nose. So there's a fine line to walk with first aid. All right. So what I did first is I didn't take anything right away. I did a little self-assessment first off. After the bleeding stopped, I kind of palpated my nose and I could touch it with pretty good pressure, and there was some pain, but it wasn't that exquisite pain that you get when you've actually fractured your nose. The second thing I did is I just bent over and touched my toes and let my head hang down, because the other thing that really hurts, if you've ever had a sinus infection, you know exactly what I'm talking about. But that pressure in your face from that inflammation is really painful. So I could do that without significant pain. And so I could also work out that day. I did go a little easier because I didn't feel the greatest. I don't know if it was the trauma or the adrenaline, but doing a super hard workout was just not in the cards for me that day. Okay, so this is what I did to treat it. In my first aid kit at home, I always have arnica. Arnica is a homeopathic, I don't know if that's going to be the right way or backwards, but you get the picture. Arnica montana is a homeopathic that's commonly used for trauma. It's commonly used for bruising. It's actually really good for physical trauma, but if you ever have an emotional trauma, I've definitely used it for that pretty successfully. However, not my best doctor moment. I only had 2 doses of arnica in my little container of it, so that was a little bit of a bummer. So I took a dose at the time of the impact, as soon as I got my wits about me, and then I took a dose before bedtime. And this is one of the advantages of working at a naturopathic medical office. I knew I would have access to arnica in the morning, so I tried to load up on my 2 doses the night before. If I hadn't had access, I probably would have done one at the time and maybe one in the morning. The other thing I did right away, mostly because I wanted to sleep that night, is I took some turmeric or curcumin, and I took my favorite kind of curcumin, which is this tetracumin. I really love this stuff for musculoskeletal pain. However, this is on back order right now, so it's like gold to me. So it's got to be a pretty big deal for me to actually take this right now. So that's what I did. I took 1 dose of this, And then I was able to get a good night's sleep that night. The next day when I got to work, I grabbed actually literally this container of arnica pellets, and I grabbed this container of tea relief. And what tea relief is it's a homeopathic cream that is a combination of a bunch of different remedies, and it's used for trauma topically. So I just would take a dab of this throughout the day and, wipe it on and put it on my nose. And I did that several times throughout the day. And I took the arnica pellets again, I don't know, 3 or 4 more times throughout the day. And, throughout my day, I did have a little headache. When I woke up that morning, I was a little nauseous, and I wear glasses. I have contacts in right now. And it was weird because the pressure from my glasses was actually making me nauseous. So putting the contacts in was a huge relief. Okay. The other thing I did at work that's different is because I didn't want to continue to take my tetracumin because it didn't hurt that bad, I just had kind of a low-key headache. And I need to be mentally sharp when I'm with patients, so having that low-key headache is not the greatest. So I decided to experiment with another form of curcumin, and this actually worked pretty well. It's by a company called Apex Energetics, and I got a bottle for the clinic just to experiment with. Now so this is called Tumoro Active, and it's, like I said, it's by Apex Energetics, and it's a liquid, and it tastes pretty good. It's got a nice orange flavor. Because it's liquid, it absorbed into my system pretty quickly, and it took that headache from maybe a 5 out of 10 to probably a 2 out of 10 within 20 minutes, which is also what I'd expect if I had taken ibuprofen or something like that. So that was my natural first aid treatment. I think with first aid, sometimes people get intimidated and they think they need to throw everything at it, when really 1 or 2 things, will be effective for them. And let me get a drink. So I didn't need much in the way of first aid. And I think part of the reason that happens for people who are generally metabolically healthy is like my inflammatory response is primed to respond appropriately because I have a really low level of baseline inflammation. If somebody, has high insulin or has diabetes or is a smoker, they're going to get this big mushroom cloud of inflammation that's going to be, a little bit harder to handle. Now, what I've been working on for later this summer, for those of you who are interested, is I'm going to be teaching a natural first aid course, and I'm pretty excited about it. I was kind of thinking about it this morning and putting together some more of the pieces, and it's going to be a 3-part course. And if you are interested in learning about natural first aid and getting a natural first aid kit from me, go to my email. The link is in my bio. Sign up for my email list. For those of the people on my email list, they're definitely going to get dibs on the course. And for the folks on my email list, I'll be offering a discount on the course too. So go there, go to my bio, sign up for my email list, and I will also send you a link to the distributor that I use to order all of this stuff. Because ordering, I understand Amazon's super convenient, but it's also a little iffy. There's a lot of documentation that the products that people get sometimes aren't the products they order. So yeah, if you're on my email list, I'll send you a link so you can order through my distributor. Anyway, that's all I have today. I like to keep first aid simple. I like to keep it effective. I was kind of hoping that Vincent would make a guest appearance back here, but you guys just get the chickens, and because Vincent's over there, passed out on our porch. All right, I hope I was able to maybe show you something you didn't know, and I hope you have a great weekend and you can get outside.